What in the looking at?
Watch this guy, mister.
They're teaming.
Come on, then. You want to hurt this man? You're going to have to hurt me, mister.
I just...
Fellas,
Somebody...
today we're talking about Slayer Fighter. It's my favorite way to currently play Fighter. As soon as you get an offhand weapon, you can play this build. It revolves around this perk, Slayer. You dual wield, you get 5 weapon damage for each weapon in your hand. At level 5, you can pick up dual wield. At level 10, you probably want to grab combo attack, unless you need to grab like weapon mastery for using a longbow or something you might have picked up in your Goblin Cave run or whatever. And then your 4th and final perk is probably going to be projectile resistance, swift, or weapon mastery. If you're naked like me, this perk is useless, so you don't take this perk. You'll grab projectile resistance or weapon mastery. It just depends. But typically projectile resistance is a little bit better. There's not many sources of projectiles hitting you if you know what you're doing, except for rangers, bards, and fighters, right? They're going to pull out their crossbow. And so, the occasional wizard, a wizard with the crossbow. Skills, real quick. Sprint is kind of a must-have. The skill is ridiculous. It puts you near movement speed cap when you push it for 6 seconds. Cooldown isn't too long, and it lets you get away. It lets you push your advantage. I mean, this skill is great. Movement speed is probably the best stat in the game, so like, this is good. Your second skill, it really depends. So like, Victory Strike, very solid. Speeds up your PvE clearing. It is good in PvP scenarios because if you hit someone in the head with Victory Strike, it will probably kill them unless they're geared. Like, let's say you have a falchion, you Victory Strike, hit him in the head with it. I mean, the falchion headshot with no gear does like 80 damage, I think. And that might push it over the threshold. I don't know. But this is a good skill for leveling. I've been running Adrenaline Rush because Barbarian is my weakest matchup as a Slayer fighter. Barbarian has a little bit more reach than you with the standard like double axe and Bardiche. And if you have to tank 2 hits from a barb, you're probably gonna die, usually. So Adrenaline, it's like a race against the clock when you're pushing in. I mean, you could try to space them out, and if they have more reach than you, you're kind of dead. You don't want to take that fight. But if they don't, if they're using a horseman or something, Adrenaline Rush is kind of clutch here. You're going to hit faster than them. You're probably going to hit harder because of Slayer. Maybe. It just depends on their gear and stuff. But this is like the most consistent way I found of killing a horseman barb is using Adrenaline Rush. The alternative, drop this, you grab Second Wind. Second Wind is like your catch-all. This is good versus wizards because you get hit with a fireball, you second wind, you're fine. You leave, you run away, you're faster for a little bit. I don't know, that's about it. But, alright, so let's say you don't use second wind. I don't really care for breakthrough. I don't really know too many use cases, or I'm like, yes, I need breakthrough. Taunt used to be really strong. It's not now. It's only 10%. And this is more for like turtle builds. I don't know. I don't really care for it. I'm not a big fan. I don't really think the aggro mechanic even works. So shield slam, if you use the shield, this is fine, but we're playing Slayer, so we don't. So I'm gonna keep using Adrenaline Rush. I like it. Equipment is pretty self-explanatory. You get, or simple. You get a offhand and an arming sword. You don't need to use an arming sword, but if you have, I prefer the arming sword. The alternatives are like falchion, horseman. That's about it, really. I don't know. I can't think of any other like main hand weapons I'd want to use. I think the horseman is just worse than the arming sword. Right? Like the damage is lower, the move speed penalty is greater, the attack speed is worse, and the hit pattern is worse. I don't know. I don't really like the horseman. Arming sword's better in my opinion. Then your offhand, it's just whatever, it's great. And then you just go in with this kit. If you are going to get like rings and amulets, get agility, move speed, weapon damage on hit. Something I wanted to touch on before I continue the rest of the video is keep your options available to you. If you can, run a longbow or a recurve or a crossbow, have throwing knives, Francesca axes, stuff like that, to give yourself the capability to fight rangers, wizards, bards, that kind of stuff. Because if you don't, there's a chance you could get kited and killed, and that is a horrible feeling. So just, come prepared if you can. Like a gray longbow is cheap. Gray weapons in general are cheap. So just try to, if you can, get yourself ranged capabilities, because you are a fighter. You have the, you can do that as well.
The dude's on the other side of that door, so. Dude's dead to the Dark Swarm. Successful rat run.
Hopefully this video was useful for you. I do stream this build quite frequently, so if you want to tune into my channel on Twitch, I play this build a lot. If you want to see it in action, and I'll see you guys next time.